I'm Tommy Memphis, you're watching Scar TV. My musical influences, my first recollections of listening to music was rock and roll, Chuck Berry, and that's the first one that springs into mind. Listened to a lot of Chuck Berry, and my parents had some Elvis records, and yeah, basically that's what I used to listen to, a lot of rock and roll when I was very young. And also some Irish music, the Furies and Dubliners, and that's where I got my love of Irish music as well. But mainly people know me for the rock and roll, obviously, and that's where I first started listening to it when I was probably 6, 7 years old. It's my first sort of recollections, getting home from school and Dad, you know, in the lounge room, moving his legs all over the place, listening to Elvis Presley, and just thinking, Dad's finally lost it. And yeah, just that's my sort of recollections I have in my mind. And then from there, I sort of moved away from the rock and roll and sort of got into sort of harder rock like Metallica, and then I got into a lot of early Black Sabbath and things like that. And there was a while there where yeah, I was into lots of really, really hard metal. And then I came out of that sort of when I started playing music myself in a band. I lived on the east coast of Tasmania, and we moved up to Launceston when my brother was doing year 11 and 12 from the country. And yeah, I got into some bands there, and we played more alternative type of rock and roll. And yeah, I'm very excited at the moment, because I'm doing a show on New Year's Eve where my best friend Jay, who we used to play in bands together back in the day, he's coming up to play the drums for me on New Year's Eve. So we had lots of different influences there. It was even to Tumbleweed and Spiderbait, Foo Fighters, and stuff like that. And it wasn't really until I came back from overseas and started thinking, geez, well, what do I really want to do with my life? And really realising that I wanted to be an entertainer, that I thought, well, how can I break into this? And I was actually doing a karaoke party and singing some Elvis Presley, and my mother-in-law said, wow, you sound, you know, you do quite a good Elvis. And then I just had the idea then that would be a good way to get back into it. And then memories came back of when I was young and listening to Elvis. So I sort of got into Elvis and rock and roll early on, and then it sort of moved out of my life, and then it came back into my life, which is nice.
How did you get started in the entertainment industry?
Well, leading on from the last question, when I came back from overseas with my fiancée, Joanna, we had our first child, Matilda, and her family lived in Port Macquarie, so we were living there, and I was stacking shelves thinking, wow, I really want to do something like entertaining. And as I said with my mother-in-law saying I didn't do a bad Elvis at that party, I had this idea. I remember being over in America in San Francisco and seeing some amazing statues out there. And I remember being in Surfers Paradise when I was 18, 19, and busking, playing guitar out in the street. And that was all right money back then. And then I thought, I had this idea of, wow, I could be an Elvis statue. You know, take the statue part that I'd seen over in America and blend that in with Elvis Presley and become a statue, an Elvis statue. So we basically packed up the car, put Matilda in the back. I remember it was the hottest week they'd had up here on the Gold Coast in something like 30 or 40 years. So 2003, 2004, and we came up, and I went out there the first night, and I put on the Elvis suit, and you know, I was sweating. I had this wig. I looked like Ray Martin. It was really bad, and we did I got out the first night. In the first hour, I'd made $3, and I was panicking, thinking, what have I done? But eventually, I started getting better. And just in Surfers Paradise here, working with the tourists and things like that, and basically from there, a man called John Logan, who's now my manager, he runs the Coffs Harbour Busking Festival, and he was up on holiday, and he heard this noise. He'd been after an Elvis busker for quite some time for his festival, and he could hear this noise in the background, but his family was saying, no, Dad, come on, you're not working, you know, just like he said, I've got to go and see who this is. And he came down and saw me. I went down, he invited me to the Coffs Harbour Busking Festival, went down, did the festival, did a show at one of the clubs down there, and as part of the festival for half an hour, and the club said, oh, we'd love to have this guy back for a proper show. Can he do a proper show? And I think I knew about 7 songs then, and John asked me, can you do a 3-hour show? I was like, yeah, no worries. You know, it was in 2 weeks, so I went back and I just went mad, learning as much as I could, and went down and did the show and slowly crept into the club scene. My biggest, what I really wanted to achieve was to play at Twin Towns. I'd tried for a good couple of years to try and get into Twin Towns, but I just couldn't get in, and John knew Paul Kelleners from way back in the day, and he sent him an email, and Paul was like, oh, why would I need another Elvis for? And John I could see the emails coming back, oh, well, you know, when you see this guy, you won't want another Elvis and this type of thing. So Paul gave me a shot, and yeah, I haven't looked back. I got in there once a month. Now I'm in there twice a month at Twin Towns, and feeling really, really happy about that. That's one of the goals I wanted to achieve, and I achieved that. So that's how I got into the entertainment industry.
And your songwriting, what major influences have you had with that?
Early on with the bands I was talking about, that I was in the alternative bands, you know, we would sing about all types of things, mainly, you know, space and aliens and different things like that. But as I've got older, my sort of main influences are, it's more an inspiration. I do lots of songs about my family and about love and about life, and you know, my family is what gives me my inspiration, and yeah, so I do a lot of my songs about that, especially the latest song that I've got, the single Navigator. That's sort of about the whole trip of moving up from Port Macquarie and finding our own way together as a family, and you know being you know, really you know, close knit and doing everything together, and looking after each other, you know, and that's really what Navigator's about, you know. So yeah.
So you have that single out and another one. Can you tell us a bit about them?
Yeah, the other one is Fan of the King, which is about a legendary bloke called Elvis, and he's from Port Macquarie. And I met this guy, Elvis. We were down at, I think it was Tackham Point Tavern the first time, and then North Haven Bowling Club, and he's just a great guy, you know. He'd turn up in like an Elvis suit and stuff like that, and we just became really good friends over the shows, and he invited me around to his house at the Elvis bar, and I go around there a lot. He's got a great bar set up, and he's just a really great guy who loves Elvis Presley, and there's so many people out there that love Elvis Presley, therefore the name Fan of the King, and it's just about him, and you know, him driving around in his car listening to Elvis, and it's just it's one for all of the people that love Elvis, and it's a special one for Port Macquarie as well, because it's used in the lyrics a lot, and it's just a bit of a tribute to a friend as well, that someone that took the time to help me, and has helped me ever since with just little things here and there, and always looking out for me, and yeah, that's what that's about. Navigator, as I said, it sort of encompasses, you know, just the sacrifices that people make for each other in a relationship, and the things that you do together, and the Navigator really, yeah, really has been a song that I've wanted to, you know, record for quite some time, and yeah, finally done it. Yeah.
And there's a film clip for Navigator as well. Can you tell a bit about that?
Yeah, the film clip for Navigator was interesting. I was up in North Queensland with my cousin Derry, and we were driving around through the sugar canes. I don't know how we got off the road so much, but anyway, we were on some road. It was about, I don't know, 7 o'clock at night, and I'd bought this new camera. It's a high-def camera. It's a mini HD, it's like a high-def camera, and we had been talking about on the trip, I was up there for a week, how it'd be cool to film a film clip on this, and if the moment arose, we should try to film something. And we were just driving along this road, and we looked out, and there was this cane fire, and we just looked at each other and went, oh, this is it. So we jumped out of the four-wheel drive. We had the lights on because it was getting dark, and had the lights on. We put Navigator, the CD, into the car, turned it up really loud so I could sing over the top, so I knew when to, you know, be playing along with it. And we shot it all in one take. So the whole thing from start to finish is one take. We pulled over the car, we jumped out, the camera's this big, and he's just pressed record. I've jumped over there and just started strumming along, and by the end of it, it was just, I was getting like attacked by mosquitoes and stuff. I'm still smiling on the clip. Mosquitoes are closing in, and there's all types of stuff happening, and you know, it's a little shaky at some parts, but what I think is that you know, when it comes to film clips and stuff like that, it's not always about how great the quality of the clip is. Like a good song should stand up by itself, and you know, I believe Navigator's a really good song, and the clip really does it justice, because it's a moment in time that you know, you couldn't plan any other way. You know, you couldn't set up a set to make it all. It was just that moment, that camera, my cousin Derry jumping out, and the way it came out, I couldn't have been more happy. Yeah.
So your name is Tommy Memphis. Is that your real name, or is it a stage name?
Yeah, it is a stage name. Being an ex-Elvis impersonator, Tommy Memphis sort of rolled out well, you know, for Elvis. And then I've kept the name, like I've hung up the jumpsuit, so to speak, and just being myself. But people know the name Tommy Memphis, and yeah. But my real name is Thomas Machinka, and Machinka is a very old German name. And my dad's from Germany, and my mum's from Ireland. She's from Dublin, and that's where I got a lot of love of Irish music as well. I would like to make an apology to all the people watching this, going, Tommy Memphis he's waffling again. There he goes again waffling, and he hasn't even mentioned his $500 Volvo Bob yet. Ladies and gentlemen, Bob is still running, so don't worry, okay? And I know Steve will cut me off at any second, okay? Don't do it, Steve.